In a cozy cottage nestled amidst a tranquil meadow, there lived a little girl named Lily. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the land, Lily's mother gently tucked her into bed. "It's time for your bedtime story, my dear," she whispered. Lily's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Oh, yes, please," she exclaimed. Her mother cleared her throat and began to weave a magical tale. Once upon a time, in a faraway forest, there lived a brave little squirrel named Pip. Pip had a bushy tail and bright, curious eyes. He loved to scamper through the trees, gathering nuts and berries. One sunny afternoon, as Pip was bounding through the undergrowth, he stumbled upon a strange and wonderful sight. There, in the middle of a clearing, stood a towering oak tree. Its branches reached up to the sky, and its trunk was covered in thick, gnarled bark. Pip had never seen anything like it before. He cautiously approached the tree, his heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. As he drew closer, he noticed a tiny door carved into the trunk. It was no bigger than a mouse hole. Curious, Pip knocked on the door. To his surprise, it creaked open, revealing a narrow, winding staircase. Pip hesitated for a moment, but his adventurous spirit got the better of him. He took a deep breath and stepped inside. The staircase spiraled down into the darkness, and Pip followed it with bated breath. As he descended, he could hear the sound of dripping water and the rustling of leaves. Finally, he reached the bottom of the stairs and found himself in a secret chamber. The chamber was dimly lit by a single candle, and the air was filled with the scent of damp earth and ancient magic. In the center of the room stood a magnificent crystal ball, glowing with an ethereal light. Pip was mesmerized by the crystal ball. He reached out and touched it, and suddenly, visions began to dance before his eyes. He saw images of faraway lands, of talking animals, and of adventures that he had never dreamed of. As Pip watched the visions, he felt a surge of wonder and excitement. He knew that he had stumbled upon something truly extraordinary. He had found the secret chamber of the forest, a place where anything was possible. And so, little Lily, Pip the squirrel, embarked on countless adventures from that secret chamber. He soared through the skies on the back of a giant eagle, sailed across, and with that, Lily closed her eyes and drifted off to sleep, her dreams filled with the magic and wonder of Pip the squirrel's secret chamber. The 7 seas on a magical ship, and even met a wise old owl who taught him the secrets of the forest. As her mother finished the story, Lily sighed contentedly. "That was beautiful," she said. "I wish I could have adventures like Pip." "You can, my dear," her mother replied. "All you need is a little imagination and a brave heart." In a quaint little cottage nestled amidst a tranquil meadow, there lived a young girl named Anya. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the land, Anya's grandmother, Baba Yaga, gently tucked her into bed. "It's time for your bedtime story, my precious Anya," she whispered. Anya's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Oh, yes, please, Babushka," she exclaimed. Baba Yaga cleared her throat and began to weave a magical tale. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a brave and kind-hearted princess named Vasilisa. Vasilisa had long, flowing hair the color of midnight, and eyes that sparkled like the stars. She was beloved by all who knew her, but her stepmother and stepsisters were wicked and cruel. One day, Vasilis's father, the Tsar, was called away to a distant kingdom. Before he left, he gave Vasilisa a beautiful doll, saying, "This doll will protect you from all harm." Vasilisa cherished the doll and kept it close by her side. After the Tsar departed, Vasilisa's stepmother and stepsisters made her life miserable. They forced her to do all the chores, and they treated her like a servant. But Vasilisa remained kind and patient, and she never complained. One evening, as Vasilisa was sitting by the fire, her stepmother gave her a seemingly impossible task. "You must go to the forest and gather a basket of strawberries for me," she said. "But be warned, the forest is dark and dangerous, and it is home to Baba Yaga, the wicked witch." Vasilisa was terrified, but she knew she had no choice but to obey. She took her basket and set off into the forest. As she walked deeper and deeper into the woods, the trees grew taller and the shadows grew darker. Vasilisa began to feel lost and alone. Suddenly, she heard a noise behind her. She turned and saw a pair of glowing red eyes staring at her from the darkness. Vasilisa's heart skipped a beat. She knew that those eyes belonged to Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga stepped out of the shadows, her long, bony fingers curled into claws. "What are you doing in my forest, child?" she hissed. "You are trespassing on my land." Vasilisa trembled with fear, but she managed to stammer out, "I am here to gather strawberries for my stepmother. She sent me here." Baba Yaga's eyes narrowed. "Your stepmother is a wicked woman," she said. "She has sent you here to your death. But I will spare you on one condition." Vasilisa's eyes widened with hope. "What is your condition?" she asked. Baba Yaga cackled. "You must work for me for 1 year and 1 day. If you serve me well, I will let you go. But if you fail me in any way, I will devour you." Vasilisa knew that she had no choice but to agree. She nodded her head and said, "I will do as you ask." And so, Vasilisa began her year of servitude to Baba Yaga. She worked tirelessly, cleaning the witch's hut, cooking her meals, and tending to her garden. Baba Yaga was a demanding mistress, but Vasilisa never complained. She performed her duties with kindness and diligence. As the year drew to a close, Baba Yaga decided to test Vasilisa's loyalty. She gave her a seemingly impossible task. "You must spin this flax into gold by tomorrow morning," she said. "If you fail, I will devour you." Vasilisa was distraught. She had no idea how to spin flax into gold. She sat down by the window and wept. Suddenly, she heard a voice behind her. "Why are you crying, child?" Vasilisa turned and saw her beautiful doll sitting on the windowsill. "Baba Yaga has given me an impossible task," she sobbed. "I must spin this flax into gold by tomorrow morning, or she will devour me." The doll smiled. "Do not worry," she said. "I will help you." And so, the doll took the flax and began to spin it. In no time at all, the flax was transformed into shimmering gold thread. Vasilisa was overjoyed. She thanked the doll and went to bed, knowing that she had completed Baba Yaga's task. The next morning, Baba Yaga was furious when she saw that Vasilisa had spun the flax into gold. She knew that the girl had received help, but she could not prove it. Baba Yaga was forced to keep her promise and let Vasilisa go. Vasilisa returned home to her father's kingdom, where she was welcomed with open arms. She told her father all that had happened, and he was amazed by her bravery and kindness. Vasilisa's stepmother and stepsisters were punished for their cruelty, and Vasilisa lived happily ever after. As Baba Yaga finished the story, Anya sighed contentedly. "That was beautiful, Babushka," she said. "I'm so glad that Vasilisa was able to overcome Baba Yaga and return home safely." "Yes, my dear," Baba Yaga replied. "But remember, even the darkest of forests can hold hidden wonders, and even the most wicked of witches can be defeated with kindness and courage." And with that, Anya closed her eyes and drifted off to sleep, her dreams filled with the magic and wonder of Vasilisa's tale. In a faraway land, nestled amidst towering mountains and sparkling rivers, there lived a young princess named Willow. Princess Willow had long, flowing hair the color of spun gold and eyes that sparkled like the morning dew. She was beloved by all who knew her, but her stepmother, Queen Malice, was wicked and cruel. Queen Malice was jealous of Willow's beauty and kindness, and she longed to be rid of her. One day, the queen devised a cunning plan. She summoned Willow to her chambers and said, "My dear Willow, I have a task for you. You must travel to the Forest of Shadows and retrieve the heart of the forest. It is said to be a magical artifact that grants eternal youth and beauty." Willow was hesitant. She had heard tales of the Forest of Shadows, a place where dark creatures lurked and danger lurked around every corner. But she knew that she had no choice but to obey her stepmother. With a heavy heart, Willow set off into the forest. As she walked deeper and deeper into the woods, the trees grew taller and the shadows grew darker. Willow began to feel lost and alone. Suddenly, she heard a noise behind her. She turned and saw a pair of glowing red eyes staring at her from the darkness. Willow's heart skipped a beat. She knew that those eyes belonged to a dangerous creature. The creature stepped out of the shadows, its long, sharp claws gleaming in the dim light. It was a goblin, a wicked and mischievous creature. "What are you doing in my forest, little girl?" the goblin hissed. "You are trespassing on my land." Willow trembled with fear, but she managed to stammer out, "I am here to retrieve the heart of the forest. My stepmother sent me here." The goblin's eyes narrowed. "Your stepmother is a wicked woman," he said. "She has sent you here to your death. But I will spare you on one condition." Willow's eyes widened with hope. "What is your condition?" she asked. "You must answer 3 riddles correctly," the goblin said. "If you fail, I will devour you." Willow knew that she had no choice but to agree. She nodded her head and said, "I will do as you ask." The goblin smiled cruelly. "Very well," he said. "Here is my first riddle. What has a bed but no head, a mouth but no teeth, and runs but never walks?" Willow thought for a moment. "A river," she said. The goblin nodded. "Correct," he said. "Here is my second riddle. What can you catch but not throw?" Willow thought for a moment. "A cold," she said. The goblin nodded again. "Correct," he said. "Here is my third and final riddle. What goes up a chimney down, but can't go down a chimney up?" Willow thought for a long time, but she could not figure out the answer. Finally, she gave up. I don't know, she said. The goblin laughed. You have failed, he said. Now I will devour you. But just as the goblin was about to pounce, a voice rang out from the darkness. Stop! The goblin turned and saw a beautiful woman standing before him. The woman was tall and slender, with long, flowing hair and piercing blue eyes. She was dressed in a flowing white gown, and she carried a staff of shimmering crystal. Who are you? The goblin demanded. I am the guardian of the forest of shadows, the woman said, and I will not allow you to harm this child. The goblin snarled, but he knew that he was no match for the guardian. He turned and fled into the darkness. The guardian turned to Willow and smiled. Are you all right, child? She asked. Willow nodded. Yes, thank you, she said. You saved my life. You are welcome, the guardian said. Now, come with me. I will take you to the heart of the forest. This is the heart of the forest, the guardian said. It is a place of great power and magic. But be warned, the heart of the forest is also dangerous. It can grant your wishes, but it can also consume you. Willow looked at the heart of the forest with awe and trepidation. She knew that she had to be careful. What should I do? She asked. You must make a wish, the guardian said, but be careful what you wish for. The heart of the forest will grant your wish, but it may not be in the way that you expect. Willow sobbed for a moment. She could wish for anything she wanted. Beauty, wealth, power. But she knew that those things were fleeting. She wanted something more. Finally, she made her wish. I wish for a heart that is filled with love and compassion, she said. The guardian smiled. Your wish is granted, she said. Now, go in peace. Willow turned and walked away from the heart of the forest. She knew that she would never forget her journey through the forest of shadows. She had faced her fears, overcome danger, and found her true heart's desire. As she walked back to her father's kingdom, Willow felt a sense of peace and contentment that she had never felt before. She knew that she was destined for great things, and that her heart would always be filled with love and compassion. And so, Princess Willow returned home a changed woman. She was no longer the timid and fearful girl who had entered the forest of shadows. She was now a brave and compassionate princess, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. In a faraway land, nestled amidst rolling hills and sparkling rivers, there lived a young prince named Orion. Prince Orion was brave and kind, and he was beloved by all who knew him. But his stepmother, Queen Selena, was wicked and cruel, and she longed to be rid of him. One day, the queen summoned Orion to her chambers and said, My dear Orion, I have a task for you. You must travel to the crystal caves and retrieve the Stone of Destiny. It is said to be a magical artifact that grants eternal life and power. Orion was hesitant. He had heard tales of the crystal caves, a place where treacherous traps and deadly creatures lurked around every corner. But he knew that he had no choice but to obey his stepmother. With a heavy heart, Orion set off on his journey. As he traveled deeper and deeper into the caves, the air grew cold and damp. The walls were lined with glittering crystals that reflected the light of his torch, casting eerie shadows all around him. Suddenly, Orion heard a noise behind him. He turned and saw a pair of glowing red eyes staring at him from the darkness. Orion's heart skipped a beat. He knew that those eyes belonged to a dangerous creature. The creature stepped out of the shadows, its long, sharp claws gleaming in the dim light. It was a troll, a wicked and monstrous creature. "What are you doing in my caves, little prince?" the troll growled. "You are trespassing on my land." Orion trembled with fear, but he managed to stammer out, "I am here to retrieve the Stone of Destiny. My stepmother sent me here." The troll's eyes narrowed. "Your stepmother is a wicked woman," he said. "She has sent you here to your death, but I will spare you on one condition." Orion's eyes widened with hope. "What is your condition?" he asked. "You must answer 3 riddles correctly," the troll said. "If you fail, I will devour you." Orion knew that he had no choice but to agree. He nodded his head and said, "I will do as you ask." The troll smiled cruelly. "Very well," he said. "Here is my first riddle. What has a head and a tail, but no body?" Orion thought for a moment. "A coin," he said. The troll nodded. "Correct," he said. "Here is my second riddle. What goes up a chimney down, but can't go down a chimney up?" Orion thought for a moment. "An umbrella," he said. The troll nodded again. "Correct," he said. "Here is my third and final riddle. What has 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening?" Orion thought for a long time, but he could not figure out the answer. Finally, he gave up. "I don't know," he said. The troll laughed. "You have failed," he said. "Now I will devour you." But just as the troll was about to pounce, a voice rang out from the darkness. "Stop!" The troll turned and saw a beautiful woman standing before him. The woman was tall and slender, with long, flowing hair and piercing blue eyes. She was dressed in a flowing white gown, and she carried a staff of shimmering crystal. "Who are you?" the troll demanded. "I am the guardian of the crystal caves," the woman said, "and I will not allow you to harm this child." The troll snarled, but he knew that he was no match for the guardian. He turned and fled into the darkness. The guardian turned to Orion and smiled. "Are you all right, child?" she asked. Orion nodded. "Yes, thank you," he said. "You saved my life." "You are welcome," the guardian said. "Now, come with me. I will take you to the Stone of Destiny." The guardian led Orion through the caves, past glittering crystals and treacherous traps. Finally, they reached a chamber in the heart of the caves. In the center of the chamber was a large, glowing stone. It was the Stone of Destiny. "This is the Stone of Destiny," the guardian said. "It is a place of great power and magic. But be warned, the Stone of Destiny is also dangerous. It can grant your wishes, but it can also consume you." Orion looked at the Stone of Destiny with awe and trepidation. He knew that he had to be careful. "What should I do?" he asked. "You must make a wish," the guardian said. "But be careful what you wish for. The Stone of Destiny will grant your wish, but it may not be in the way that you expect." Orion thought for a moment. He could wish for anything he wanted: wealth, power, glory. But he knew that those things were fleeting. He wanted something more. Finally, he made his wish. "I wish for a heart that is filled with courage and compassion," he said. The guardian smiled. "Your wish is granted," she said. "Now, go in peace. Orion turned and walked away from the Stone of Destiny. He knew that he would never forget his journey through the crystal caves. He had faced his fears, overcome danger, and found his true heart's desire. As he traveled back to his father's kingdom, Orion felt a sense of peace and contentment that he had never felt before. He knew that he was destined for great things, and that his heart would always be filled with courage and compassion. And so, Prince Orion returned home a changed man. He was no longer the timid and fearful boy who had entered the crystal caves. He was now a brave and compassionate prince, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Once upon a time in the magical kingdom of Eldoria, there lived a young girl named Lily. Lily had curly golden locks that cascaded down her shoulders and eyes as blue as the clearest summer sky. She lived with her loving parents in a cozy cottage nestled at the edge of the enchanted forest. One night, as Lily lay in her soft bed, her mother tucked her in and kissed her forehead. "Good night, my dear Lily," her mother whispered. "Sleep tight and dream of wonderful adventures." Lily closed her eyes and drifted into a peaceful slumber. As she slept, she found herself in a dreamland where everything was vibrant and alive. She stood in a meadow filled with flowers of every color, their sweet scent filling the air. Suddenly, a small creature hopped out from behind a bush. It was a tiny rabbit with fur as white as snow. "Hello, little girl," the rabbit said with a twinkle in its eyes. "My name is Cotton, and I am the guardian of dreams. I have come to take you on a special journey." Lily followed Cotton as they ventured deeper into the meadow. They came across a sparkling stream, where a family of ducks swam gracefully. The ducks invited Lily to join them, and she happily splashed in the cool water, laughing and playing. Next, Cotton led Lily through a dense forest, where she encountered a mischievous squirrel named Nutmeg. Nutmeg was gathering acorns for the upcoming winter and offered to teach Lily how to climb trees. With Nutmeg's guidance, Lily learned to scamper up tall branches and swing from tree to tree like a nimble woodland creature. As the sun began to set, Cotton and Lily reached a clearing where fireflies danced in the twilight. The fireflies illuminated the night sky with their gentle glow, creating a magical spectacle. Lily watched in awe as they formed intricate patterns in the air, painting the darkness with their luminescence. Cotton and Lily continued their journey, and soon they arrived at the edge of a beautiful lake. The moon's reflection shimmered on the calm water, creating a mesmerizing sight. On the lake's shore, Lily encountered a wise old turtle named Ollie. Ollie shared stories of ancient kingdoms and legendary heroes, filling Lily's heart with wonder and imagination. As the night grew darker, Cotton led Lily to a cozy tree house nestled among the branches of a giant oak tree. Inside, a group of friendly animals had gathered for a midnight feast. There were rabbits, squirrels, birds, and even a wise old owl perched on a branch. They shared delicious treats and told stories of their own adventures. Lily yawned, feeling the weight of sleep tugging at her eyelids. Cotton noticed and gently guided her to a soft bed of moss. "It's time for you to rest, dear Lily," Cotton whispered, tucking her in. "Remember, dreams are the key to endless possibilities." Lily closed her eyes and drifted into a deep slumber, still hearing the whispers of the forest and the laughter of her newfound animal friends. In her dreams, she soared through the skies on the back of a graceful eagle, swam with dolphins in the depths of the ocean, and danced with fairies in a magical ball. When Lily woke up the next morning, she found herself back in her cozy bed at home. She smiled, knowing that the adventures she had experienced in her dreams would always be a part of her. As she got ready to face the day, Lily felt a sense of joy and wonder, for she knew that even the most ordinary day could be transformed into an extraordinary adventure. And so, every night, Lily closed her eyes, eagerly awaiting the moment when she would meet Cotton in her dreams and embark on new and exciting journeys. She learned that the world of dreams was a gateway to a realm where imagination knew no bounds, a realm where anything was possible. From that day forward, Lily cherished her dreams and the magical stories they held. And as she drifted off to sleep each night, she thanked the guardian of dreams for the beautiful tales and adventures that awaited her on the other side of slumber.